Look at the pollution in Delhi.
Absolutely.
Look at the terrible...
No excuses for it.
Yeah.
There are many reasons for it. First of all, as a people, we need to get serious about what the issues are.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, we'll have pointless debates about Diwali, which has nothing to do with it. It's one day, and that day, by the way, if you look at the statistics, barely different from the day before or after.
Yeah.
Whereas there are serious issues about stubble burning. That is one part of the issue. It's not the only issue. There are serious issues about construction dust.
Yes.
There are serious issues about burning of garbage. And so on and so forth.
And public transport.
And
we
public
don't
transport.
have functional public transport.
Well,
we have the Delhi Metro,
but
not
even
enough.
here, even there, the conversation has to be about serious things. So let me now take that particular thing and show you. Delhi Metro is actually a fairly large network now. It's not a small network as it may have been. By any standard, the Delhi Metro is a decent system. But what is the problem? You come out of the Delhi Metro into absolute chaos. Why? Because we do not invest into the next layer,
that last mile connectivity,
which is walking.
Yeah.
When I talk about last mile connectivity, it becomes about how to allow some three-wheeler or some other such thing and try. No, all public transport has to be based on the last mile being walking.
Yeah.
Okay? Not anything else, not even cycling. And very often we then have these fuddy-duddy ideas of adding cycling to walking. So I am a big cyclist. I spent years cycling back and forth from work, but it is not to be confused with walking. Walking is the single most important form of transportation in any city.
Yeah.
It is cheap, it is egalitarian and essential to all public transport systems. And yet, we don't invest in sidewalks. When you come out of anything, in fact, we have a euphemism called road widening. What is road widening? It is narrowing of the pedestrian space.
And the pedestrian space is for people to sell their wares.
Absolutely.
Who cannot invest in a shop, they sell their wares. It's for cyclists to ride on.
We need to have a serious conversation as citizens of cities. And those conversations have to be driven by citizens and not by activists. This is another very important issue.
Okay, get that. Activists, yes. Citizens, yes. But also of the city planners. We don't plan our cities.
So here also I have a somewhat radical view. This problem is not a problem of city planning. It's a problem of city management. Let me separate the two out. The reason for that, I'll explain. You see, what we call planning in India is actually not planning. It's called master planning of a certain kind. Basically, what do? We take a 2D map. We draw various kinds of straight lines on it. Then some great theoretician will come and decide various kinds of zones. And I've gone through this process, by the way, even for Delhi and many others. And they will say, we have studied 30 years of past data, and so we now know that this industry should be here. Hello, if you know which industry is going to grow over the next 30 years, why are you spending time in town planning? You should be in the stock market. So, this is an utter waste of time. What you need to do, and you do need to plan, you need to plan the trunk infrastructure. You need to plan the look and form of what the city will look like. Not what that building will do and what is in the private space. Instead, if you look at our building codes, the BIS building codes mostly go on and on about how much gap there should be between the boundary wall and your building, what you should be doing about staircases inside your house. They are not about public space at all. So we need to have a conversation when we talk about planning. The planning has to be more about the management because cities are continuously changing. So it's about transition management. It has to be about the look and feel of the city. It has to be about walkability. It has not to do with zoning. Except for a few dangerous industries, we should allow everything inside the city
but you
and
allow
to evolve.
If you allow it, for example, the Ambani Cultural Center has been built and, you allowed it to happen and it's huge. And BKC has happened, it's huge. But the way to that is
so you invest into...
And the same with the Bharat Mandapam. Lovely, everything nice. There was the trade fair thing which was earlier.
So you build the infrastructure for it.
But there was no infrastructure around it.
So build the infrastructure for it.
Every day.
One part of it is, of course, bad signage, which is another debate to be had. But you need to invest for these things and manage it.
And make the infrastructure, private sector is making its infrastructure. Build the flyovers, build the signages and stuff like that. Plant the trees before
No, so this is where I am disagreeing with you. The point is, if we were all so wise, then Gurgaon would be still a retiree town. If you went back to 1990, before the IT boom and back office boom, and you asked some civil servant to plan Gurgaon, he would never have built for what the city became.
Yeah.
So this whole idea that, we should have some wise town planner and he will very wisely think about what will happen 30 years and he will build infrastructure is a waste of time. You've got to do this as it happens.
No, but I went to Naya Raipur and they have done everything. They've
So
built
exactly,
the roads
and has Naya Raipur succeeded? No, it's an large empty
but
spaces.
they've
It'll
put up-
never be anything if you do not allow it to evolve. That's the point I'm making. Even in Haryana, or let's go to Chandigarh. Why didn't Chandigarh, which is supposedly planned, become the hub of all this great BPO and all of these kinds of activities? Because it couldn't be done there. Because Le Corbusier, who was the great town planner, never envisaged that you would have essentially large white-collar factories. Gurgaon, for all its failures, simply allowed it to happen, maybe through all kinds of breaking of rules. But if we had gone with the so-called building codes, we would never have, that sector would not have emerged. So rather than complain about changing times,
What is the
adapt to
solution?
it.
How do
So
you
build
stop?
for it.
Okay.
Continuously invest into it. And that requires many of the things that you now need to invest into Gurgaon do not need you to have some great planning. Removing garbage did not need planning. You knew if there is a city, it needs garbage removal. Yeah. It does not need great imagination to think that, the green spaces being taken over by wine shops is not great for environment. I have nothing against, I'm not a teetotaler and I have no problem with wine shops being there. But does every green space have to be taken over by one? Yeah.
And you don't need every 2 miles, you don't need a wine shop.
Yeah. So you need to manage the city. So do not let off today's city managers on grounds that there was no planning. All cities evolve, all living cities evolve forward by continuous upgradation and management of transition.
Namaste, Jai Hind. You're watching ANI podcast with Smita Prakash.
अगर हम उसको मस्जिद कहेंगे तो फिर विवाद होगा।
The issue is टूटा है क्या भारत?
400 पार का मतलब ये है कि संविधान खतरे में है।
क्या हम लोग ये निर्देश देते हैं कि फला को गिरफ्तार करके जेल डाल दो?
वही तो कह रहे हैं सब।
ये बेबुनियाद निराधार आरोप।
सच्चा सुनना चाहो देखो स्मिता प्रकाश ANI. It does not lie.